I'm Paranormal Pete, and I'm on a journey to seek answers to the questions that have crossed all of our minds. What happens to us when we die? Is there an afterlife? I'm a regular guy who discovered the gift of psychic mediumship in my 30s. My passion for history and the unknown have put me right here, right now. My mantra for anything paranormal is, we don't know much and anything is possible. Join me as we find our way through the stories, evidence, and experiences of the paranormal and beyond in search of answers, even if that leads to more questions. Are you with me?
Hey everybody, welcome to the Paranormal Pete Show. I'm your host, Pete Orbea. We're here on WLTK-DB.com. Be sure you go to the website and go through it. There's so much to check out. There's a blog on there. There's so much content. You can get stuff. If you love the station, you can buy stuff to support the station. You get t-shirts and cups and everything. But I encourage everybody to go through the whole website. And if you like this show and you've been tuning in, thank you so much. I'm always humbled by all the support. You'll definitely love the other shows on the station. There's a new show, Monday Morning Monsters with Barnaby Jones. So definitely check that out. If you missed it on Monday, you can catch the replay at WLTK-DB.com or go and check out our YouTube or anywhere on the socials. Just look up WLTK-DB and you'll find it. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. So if you missed a show, hey, no worries. We got you covered. Station owners, Todd and Sherry, they got you covered on the website. You can listen to all the previous episodes from the previous shows. And there's a great audio archive. And like a lot of people, if you're busy and you can't always catch live production, catching up on audio is a great way to stay in tune with the shows. And so you're in the know. So again, go to WLTKDB.com. And tonight we're on episode, I always have to check, 68. Still going strong. So excited for tonight. We've got fellow host on WLTK-DB of the show Be the Change. We've got Kristina Bloom on tonight. Very excited to have her on. And I mentioned Todd and Sherry, just quick shout out to them, all they do for the station, and Todd on the ones and twos in the background. And a special shout out to producer for the show, Mike Beers, good friend of mine. And I see him up here. 68, that's right. Thanks for watching, Mike. If you like the intro song to the show, that's my band, Steady Rock Cosmonaut. So be sure to go to steadyrockcosmonaut.com or go anywhere you like to stream music. You can find us there. Steady Rock Cosmonaut. Just check that out. So we got Kristina coming up tonight. Next week, I've got Paranormal Perception Show host Henry San Miguel. He also happens to be the coordinator for the upcoming OC Paracon down in Anaheim, October 1st and 2nd. Get your tickets at ocparacon.com. I'm going to be speaking there and a panelist, and I'll have a table. I'll be offering readings all weekend, so come by and say hello if you're coming to that conference, and if you're not, well, get down there. So we're going to have Henry on the show next week, and we're going to be talking about the OC Paracon, but that's not the only thing. Well, the conference is right next to Disneyland, and I'm sure people out there have heard of haunted stories from Disneyland. Well, Henry's got the inside scoop on a lot of those, so we're going to be talking about some haunted Disneyland stories. And I guess I'll be prepared to look out for that when I go down for the conference. So be sure to tune in next week for Henry San Miguel. The week after that, I've got filmmaker Randall Nickerson, and he's got the Aerial Phenomenon film. And that is such an interesting story. If you don't know anything about it, look up the Aerial Phenomenon. That's ARIEL. It's a mass UFO sighting that took place in Africa. Students and teachers, it was outside of school. Students and teachers witnessed it. It's a pretty interesting story. So I'm really excited to have Randall on to talk about his film and his research and just his experience with the whole story. So I think that's going to be really cool. And then July 5th, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're getting into July here. Weren't we just in January? Oh, wait, that's just the weather in Washington where I'm at. I know there's heat waves going on everywhere. We're at, let's see, 57 degrees right now, and it's gray. So uh, if you need to cool off mentally, send yourself to the Seattle area and you'll cool down. So, but in July, I've got special guest Jessica Linato. She's an astrologer. She's a medium as well, and so we pre-recorded that episode for July 5th. And so we are actually going to talk about mediumship more than astrology, but I have her explain some things that I always hear people say, like, oh, that darn Mercury retrograde, so I have her explain all that kind of stuff. So be sure to tune in on July 5th for that with Jessica Linato. I've got a bunch of events coming up. I've got a youth ghost walk tour this weekend. So if you're in the local area where I'm at, Kitsap County, or maybe you're in Seattle looking for something to do for Father's Day weekend, it's a 2-hour tour in Port Gamble. I'll be sharing ghost stories and history, and we'll be checking out a lot of the tools of the trade of investigating the paranormal. That's coming up this weekend. But I do have some ghost walks and special investigations where you get to. The special investigations are fun because it's in our the Walker Ames house here in Port Gamble, which is probably the most well-known haunted location in town here. And so I lead the investigations, and it's a chance to kind of check out how to use tools, how to investigate, and possibly have your own experience. So we oftentimes have stuff happen during the investigations and the tours. So makes it a lot of fun. You never know what's going to happen. So if you're interested in any of those events, and you're, like I said, you're in the Seattle area, or maybe you're traveling up here in the next couple months, go to portgambleparanormal.com, and I've got all the tickets and dates there. So hopefully we'll see you out at one of those events. They're a lot of fun. And I think our long-term residents here in Port Gamble enjoy it for the most part. So come out and see us, and you'll see why some people never left Port Gamble. And then, of course, we got the Port Gamble Ghost Conference coming up November 11th through the 13th. And it's right here in Port Gamble in the historic theater that was built in 1906. And yes, there is activity that happens in there, at least for the past 20 years of people noticing it. So we're really excited about that. That's a 3-day conference. You can get a 3-day pass or a 1-day pass. There will be lots of opportunities for taking different kinds of classes. Great speakers every year that come out to the conference, and so lucky to have so many great minds in the paranormal here in the Pacific Northwest. So I always look forward to the conference. It's a lot of fun. It's a great place to meet people, like-minded people, or even people with different perspectives, but at least it helps you keep an open mind. And plus, we get to investigate 6 or 7 different locations here in Port Gamble. So all old buildings, pretty cool. So you can find the info for that through my website, or you can go straight to portgamble.com and check out that event. We got a few people checking in here. Robin Cribbs, thanks for watching. Hello. And Jamie checking in. Hello, Jamie. Thanks for watching. And Stephen Thomas, how's it going? Thanks for watching. Oh, good friend of the show, Linda Myers. Hey, Linda, thanks for watching. We've had her on before. We'll have to get her on again soon. And Jamie's saying that she's a paranormal magnet. Well, Port Gamble would probably like you. So it seems to like people who are paranormal magnets. Well, I want to get into it here. We got a special guest tonight. And as I mentioned in the intro, she is also a show host here on WLTK-DB. And like I said, please go check out all the other shows on the station, because there's lots of great stuff on there. So very excited to have Kristina. I think I'm going to be on her show in July, so I look forward to that. And who knows what we'll get into there, or who even knows what we'll get into tonight, but that's the fun of it, right? So Kristina is a psychic, medium, and channel for the divine. For 20 years, she has been facilitating individual and gallery psychic readings across the country, speaking in front of both small and larger groups. In addition, Kristina facilitates a variety of workshops and retreats to help you in your spiritual and personal growth. For more information, visit her website at kristinabloom.com. I'll put that up on my show page on Facebook after the show, but that's Kristina with a K, Bloom.com. or you can order copies of her books at moonbowpublications.com/Kristina-Bloom. So she's an author as well. So without further ado, let's bring Kristina on the show. Big show, welcome. Hey.
Hey, Pete, how you doing?
Good. How about you?
Good, good. We just got back from camping, so I look like
Yeah.
I just walked off a campsite, but that's all good.
Well, it
Yeah.
was probably good to connect with nature a little bit, I'm sure.
Yeah, I did my show last night actually from the campsite.
Right. Now, where were you at?
Yeah. We were at Lake Wissota State Park near Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. So
Okay.
it
And
was,
what
yeah,
event was it?
it was just a camping trip with my husband and a couple of friends.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
man, I need that. I need to get out. Get
Yeah, we were
outdoors
actually
and
still supposed to be there tonight, but the weather got bad, so we decided to cut bait and run.
oh, how was it doing your show from there?
It was fun. It was fun. Yeah, if you go in and look at it, all you're going to see is the fire pit because that's what I had the camera focused on.
Nice. Hey, that's cool. That probably was pretty relaxing for people watching and
I hope
listening.
so.
Hey, we've got a few people checking in here. Nathan Hardister, great show. I hope I said that right. And Robin Crims
Hi,
saying hello to
Robin. Robin's a good
yeah.
friend of mine.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And
Hi,
Jamie saying
Jamie.
hello. And Mike Beers too.
Hey,
Right
Mike.
on.
Thanks
Well,
for
everybody,
hooking me up.
yeah, thanks. Thank you. Yeah, everybody watching out there, feel free to ask questions. It's always makes the show better when the audience is asking questions, and then hopefully we'll be able to answer the questions. But
Right.
well, I always have to disclaim that, like, well, you can't ask me anything. They can
Yeah.
try, but if anybody has questions as we go through and talk through different things, fire away. Just comment from where you're watching from. We'll see it, and we'll get to it. So, well, good. I'm glad you got to get out, and I'm interested in kind of your story, your how you got to where you're at now, especially in the world of mediumship and the woo, right? The
The
world of
woo,
the woo.
the woo
How'd you kind
woo.
of get, yeah, how'd you kind of get into it?
I was born into it, basically. I started having prophetic dreams as a toddler, and
Okay.
it just kept going from there. And then there's a section of my life in my teenage years where I was trying not to hear the voices, I was trying not to see the ghosts. And that led me down a path of addiction for a while. And so, in order to recover from the addiction, I really had to embrace all of me, my psychic ability, my hearing, my seeing, my dreaming, all of it. I had to really embrace it in order to be able to recover from the addiction that I created to avoid hearing the voices and seeing the things.
Yeah.
So that was a big part of my journey in that. It was that. And oddly enough, the drinking and using didn't even stop the voices or the visions. It just made it weirder, I
Oh,
guess.
well, I guess probably, somewhat in your mind, it was a way to muddy the waters, maybe, and,
Right,
make it
right.
less clear, that sort of thing.
Well, yeah, the attempt was to stop it, but it never worked. So,
Right. Well, and when you look back on, look back on everything, do you have the opinion of, well, everything happened in the way it was supposed to get me where I am today,
oh,
or
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah, like where you
yeah.
sure you can regret some things, but it's not like a full regret of how your life has gone. Like, have you
I
just
actually don't regret any of it. I
right
don't
because it
regret
makes you who you
anything.
are, right?
Right, right.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's really cool.
yeah.
When you were trying to recover, when you're trying to
Mhm.
recover from things, and you kind of let things happen, let the universe kind of take hold. How was that experience? Was it like really overwhelming? Was it like, 10 times what it was before the addiction? Did it just come in like a flood, or how did that work for you?
Um, it kind of went in stages. So it wasn't like one event. It was in stages. So it was more like, I guess it brought me to an understanding that this is just who I am, and it's okay to be who I am. And I do want to say my family never made it not okay, because they always believed me, and there was always verification anyway. So it
Yeah.
wasn't like my family didn't support me in my abilities. The thing was, I didn't realize until I was probably in middle school that not everybody had those abilities. Because
Yeah.
to me, it was so normal, I assumed everyone had it.
Yeah.
I
Isn't
assumed,
that interesting? In all the people I've interviewed or just talked with, just in general, when they talk about psychic, abilities, mediumship as a kid, they always say that same thing. And
right,
where it took you a while to realize not everybody else had the same thing or doing the
right,
same thing. So I always find that interesting, in my life and everything. I didn't have much exposure to metaphysical, that sort of thing. Not It was not on purpose, but it just, not something I had a lot of exposure to. So growing up, I just thought I had a weird imagination, and well, that's just it. And then you look back, later in life, when I got hit in the head with the universal 2x4, then it was like I looked back. So um I just always find it interesting that everybody who knew it when they were a kid thought everybody else had the same thing. What do you think about that?
I think it's very normal. I mean, when you experience anything as a kid, if you're naturally athletic, you tend to assume everyone is naturally athletic. If you're really good at math, you tend to assume everyone's really good at math. I don't think this is different from that.
Yeah,
I think as a
it's
kid, we tend to assume that other people are like us.
right. And you, I guess, also assume the best in everything too,
I
probably as
think
a
so.
kid.
I think
As a
most
kid.
kids do. Yeah.
Yeah. Most kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jamie had a comment here, and she said, "Wow, I wasn't born with it. It has slapped me for the past 3 years. I turned to addiction lately, but it's stronger. I thought I would stop the visions and messages. Have I always had these gifts, or has the veil been lifted?" What do
That's
you
an
think,
interesting
Kristina?
question. I feel like I feel like most people, I mean, we all have some sort of intuition. It's our guidance system, right? That's how we get through life. It's like our life GPS. That's how we get through it.
Right.
And I think this gets really into some deep stuff, but um, I feel like we all have universal contracts. We come into this life with an idea of what we want to accomplish, what we want to experience. We don't always have the circumstances around those experiences
Okay.
set up, right? Do you see what
Right.
I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you, I feel like, Jamie, you had a contract with yourself, with your soul, when you came into this body, to be able to look through the veil in this lifetime, so that it, well, I don't know. I feel like I'm going in a circle here, but the contract with your soul, your higher self, the universe, whatever you want to call it, you want to be able to experience the bigger part of yourself that's out there somewhere, right? But you want to be able to do it in human form. And I keep hitting my microphone. So I feel like when it comes up and it slaps you, it's like, hey, time to wake up. You have a contract here. I feel like that's what it is. And I also feel like when it comes to you like that, for me, it wasn't that it surprised me that I had these abilities. It's when I got into middle school and people are going, will you stop being weird? Just
Right.
stop it, because you're freaking us out. And it was at that point I realized that not everyone could do what I could do, or
Yeah.
not everyone was in tune with it or aware of it or whatever. And Jamie, yeah, I think it was veiled. And I think that it was kind of backburnered while you had other life experiences that you agreed to. And then it was time to do this one. And, you just didn't remember it, because when we come into human form, we seem to have spiritual amnesia.
Right. And we may get bits and pieces of that. And
Right.
she says, yes, everyone thinks I'm weird. Well, hey, you fit right in here on the station. So
You're in good company, Jamie.
yeah, you're in good company. And I would say to Jamie as well, if there's someone that you can talk to that's a practicing psychic medium, uh, something that's very helpful to anybody is having a mentor or someone you can talk to kind of help explain maybe some of the feelings you're having, maybe some of the things you're seeing, because it's not all unicorns and rainbows seeing on the other side, and so some of it can get to you. So if you have somebody maybe in your local area, preferably somebody you can see, but longer distance is fine too. But try and find a mentor, someone who can help kind of explain those things. And I'm just speaking from experience. My good friend William Becker's kind of been my mentor through my journey, and to be able to talk to someone and say, well, I'm feeling this when this happens. I'm seeing this sort of thing, and having just somebody with some experience give a little bit of guidance, I think that probably would go a long way for you, in understanding, because once you can start to understand little bits and pieces, then it'll start to fit together and you'll kind of start to understand how it's supposed to work with you. Anything else you want to add, Kristina?
No, I think that's a great idea. I do have a book out if she's interested that really goes step by step through the process. It's
Yeah,
called
Intuitive You, right?
Intuitive You. Yep.
Yeah,
Goes
so
yeah, very step by step. It's easy to follow.
that's thank God for people putting step by steps out. Thank you.
It's step
That's
by step. Yeah, with practice exercises. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It takes some work. You got to put some work
it
into it.
does.
The what you put into it is what you'll get out of it, or what your
Exactly.
guides will let you get out of it. And yeah, so check out Kristina's book, and I'll put links up post show. Go to publications.com and look up Kristina Bloom. So the Intuitive You sounds like that would be a good read for Jamie there. So
Yeah. It's a
yeah.
really good beginning book. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Had a few other comments here. Kate Walker, thanks for watching the show. She said, I've had the opposite. I used to have more experiences, but it's like it shut down completely the past few years. And that's kind of the other side of it too,
Right.
is if, it just seems to vanish or,
Mhm.
go away. What do you think about when it just seems to, it's just gone?
My experience has been, and not just with myself, but with other people, that when that happens, go back to when it happened. What else was going on?
Right.
What were you having difficulty in your life? Did you take a different path? Did you
Mhm.
did you start focusing on other things? And for some people, it's like when they have a baby, it stops because all of a sudden their focus is parenting.
Yes. Yeah.
you know,
And
yeah,
those are things you don't normally, it's not like top of mind,
right,
when you're, to remember that or think about it.
right.
Yeah, that's
And it could
interesting.
be anything. I mean, it could be a traumatic experience. It could be a career change. For me, it was a health issue. I had a devastating health issue and I lost it completely for a year. That was the most miserable year of my life, not being able to access
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
What are some of the, well, on that note, what are some of the things that help you kind of get through that time, and how did it start to come back?
I just didn't give up. I first of all, it was a stroke. I had a stroke, and so that was. I mean, it's literally a traumatic brain injury when you have a stroke, and so
Right.
for me, it was, which is not going to be the same thing for everyone, but my experience was I had to start over and teach myself how to go around the damaged parts. I literally taught myself to feel my brain so that when I was creating new synapses, I could
Yeah.
feel it. Yeah, but that's my own personal experience. So, but I had to learn how to do a lot of things again. I mean, it wasn't a very real serious stroke. So, I mean, I didn't have to learn how to walk. I didn't have to learn how to eat or talk, but I did have to learn how to make sense again, because after the stroke for a few months, I didn't make any sense at all. Like, I would be speaking and it just sounded like random words.
Yeah.
So
Well,
there was,
that.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that's incredible. Well, I'm sorry you had to go through that.
apparently it was just part of my path. Like I said, we come in with these experiences that we want to have, but we don't necessarily know what circumstance is going to create that experience.
Right. Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
It and I'll also mention for Kate as well that I maybe
yeah,
shouldn't say gone, think of it as gone totally. It's there
no,
in some way, probably there somewhere. You just got to find it again. And like Christina's saying, she had to kind of teach herself how to feel around her brain. Well, you got to feel around, spiritually
mhm.
and find that spot again if you want it back. So go ahead.
Meditation is key. I think meditation is key.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I I try and not say meditation because it doesn't work for me. Like the when you tell someone meditation, whatever that conjures up in their mind is for me it doesn't work. Trying to push everything out of my mind just doesn't work. But I learned early on more of a hyper focus approach of just go with your brain. Just let it do its thing.
Surprise, that too is meditation.
I know, but I can't call it that or else it doesn't work for me. So,
Okay.
but you're right. And for Kate, for you out there, if you can spend some time meditating and have the mindset of setting time aside to be present and be there in that moment when you do it, and that'll help get things going along for you. Had a couple other comments here to Mike Beers. Using his gifts as a kid landed him in therapy. Parents deprogram you and reprogram you to fit into society. Then many don't find their way back until adulthood. Some learn to hide it from the world. Yeah. And
I completely agree. I find that to be very sad because it's such a natural ability, but yeah, a lot of people have been through that.
yeah, and for me, it wasn't either of those because it wouldn't have. I
Mhm.
don't. It wouldn't have been repressed. My parents raised me with a very open mind, very imaginative, and supported creativeness and all that stuff. And then I didn't discover it until my mid 30s when. Like the Universal 2x4, like Hacksaw Jim Duggan, the old wrestling days, have smacked me upside the head. Then I had to pay attention to it. Linda Myers also commenting, she's very fortunate her mom encouraged her gifts,
Yeah.
and also adding that conferences are a great resource as well. Yeah, you guys, if there's a paranormal or metaphysical conference and you're curious or you're like, I don't know what to do, go there and see if you can meet somebody who can give you some insight.
And
Um,
if you can't get to an actual conference, there are wellness, metaphysical, psychic fairs all over the place.
Yeah, they're everywhere. Yeah,
Yes.
just go talk to some people, go meet some people, get a sense for everybody, and then that you should find some help there. Well, we got lots of questions coming in, and Jamie says, okay, she needs help. So Jamie, again, find somebody that is reputable and that you can talk to. Um, get a reading. A lot of us show hosts here do readings. So
Yes. Yes, we do.
you can contact one of us and get a reading. It maybe kind of that might point you in the right direction. But if you can find somebody that's a little bit closer to you, that can act as some sort of somebody you can talk to and they can mentor you a little bit, I think that's going to help you get you in the right direction there. And Kate, commenting back, she says, I hope it can come back. It's weird having total silence for the first time. I feel lonely almost. Haha. I can't pick up anything in my own house or going to places I used to feel something. As a kid, I used to wish it would go away, but now I miss it. I feel like I'm half asleep almost. It's hard to describe. Well, I think we can understand that.
I totally understand that. Yeah, I missed it. I missed my spirit guides. I missed having that conversation. I missed the connection. I completely
Yeah.
understand how that feels. I just kept showing up. That's what I did. I mean, it's okay. So, I mean, I had to do the rehab from the stroke, but then I just kept going to crystal stores. I kept going to where psychics hung out. I kept going to where, I just kept exposing myself to the energy until it started coming back.
And then you found those new
And I
pathways,
found the new pathways, and yep.
Yep. You repaired your Wi-Fi router.
I did. It took
Yeah.
a while, but I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing I'll add too, onto the meditation piece, um, is if you have a hard time with, what you think is meditation, I've found, and Christina, I'll ask you to follow up. I've
Mhm.
found that what works a lot is visualization, right?
Right.
That's what I use, and so I visualize a location first when I'm trying to, clear myself and kind of get, you know, in the zone or whatever you want to call it. I visualize a location first, wherever my brain wants to take me. It's a beach, it's a forest, it's a city block, whatever. Visualize the location first, and then start niching down on all the details in that location. What's next to you? What's the surface you're standing on? What are you wearing? Do you smell anything? What do you hear? Do you hear birds? Well, where are they coming from? Is it cloudy? Is it sunny? Is it nighttime? Is it daytime? Did you just hear someone yell something in the distance? Look around, start niching down on all those details in that location. And before you know it, you're there present in that place, and everything else is out of your head. So
Right.
that might be something to try. What do you think?
I agree with that. I teach a lot of meditation. Visualization is key for a lot of people. I do want to say, though, that there are some people who don't have the ability to visualize. They just
Sure.
don't have it, So for those people, I say pay attention to your other senses. It's just like if you lost your visual sight, you would enhance your hearing, you would enhance your sense of touch or smell or taste or whatever it takes to adjust to your environment. You can do the same thing metaphysically. And I do have 6 guided meditations on my website. There's a page for guided meditations. They're all free. You can go right to the website. You can listen from there. You can download whatever you want to do. But there are 6 guided meditations on there. And one of
Awesome.
them is very similar to what you said because it's creating your own personal garden, whatever that means to you.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So again,
Yeah.
that's ChristinaBloom.com. That's Christina with a K, like you see on the screen there. So, oh, that's great. And guided meditations are so helpful. And
They
so
are.
that's awesome that you put those out. A few more comments. We got more questions. People are really lighting up the questions tonight. Mike says, I just found my way back. Okay. That sounds good to me. And let's see, we had one from Robin. Just I hear voices in my head from time to time. How can I tell who it is? What do you think, Christina?
I ask them who they are.
That's what I was going to say. Ask them.
I ask them. I literally do. I ask them, who is this? And I might not get a name, but I will generally get a sense of who it is,
Yeah.
And the voices in my head are very often either, as Abraham Hicks would say, my inner being, or a spirit guide, or an angel, or it could be one of our passed on loved ones who are talking to us. But if you ask who it is, you will often get a sense of which direction that's going.
Yeah, exactly. And write stuff down,
Yes.
right?
Right.
Journal. So, Robin, when you think you're hearing a voice, write down what you think it says, and then write down the first name you think.
That's a good
And
idea.
then
Yeah.
yeah, and then what, or just like write initials, like write 2 initials. What are those? And then the next time you have that happen, maybe it's the next day or the next week or next month or whatever, do the same thing again, And then after a while of doing that, do you see any patterns? Are you coming up with the same letters? Is it saying the same thing? So it might be good to kind of journal those experiences and then go back and see if you can identify a pattern, because that might be a validation, which then you take that validation and try and remember what you felt and how you felt things. And that will help you recognize that more in the future. At least that's my opinion. So, and hopefully that helps. I usually am long-winded about stuff. Give me a yes or no 20 minutes later. Yes.
Yeah.
But that's most mediums, right?
Right. Because we're constantly getting information. And I think that's the other thing too. Can I just point this out real quick?
Yeah.
I know you have a question coming up. I think most people expect it to feel somehow mystical or like a lightning bolt from the sky. And very often intuitive messages, psychic messages are like a passing thought. And I miss a lot of them. I'm sure I do.
Because flash in the pan.
But they're also sometimes very subtle and very quiet.
Yeah.
It's like, I kind of call them like a brain worm in the back of your mind. Like it just comes and goes and you're just like, oh, wait, come back here. I think I missed that.
Yeah.
A lot of times you're just looking for something that's very subtle and not something that's going to go, hey, you.
With a flashing sign or something.
Right.
Well, we blew right through our station break. So I think we're going to take a quick station break and we're going to come back with more questions and comments. You guys, this was great. And I also want to ask Kristina about some of her experiences in gallery readings before the end of the show. So we'll take some time towards the end. But we're here on WLTK-DB.com, and this is the Paranormal Pete Show. I'm your host, Peter Orbay, with special guest, medium and author Kristina Bloom here, also host of Be the Change on WLTK-DB. Hang on, people. We'll be right back, and we'll get to more of your questions.
Brandon Wainwright is an animal lover, author, energy healer, and former police officer. In April of 2018, he and his family lost their dog Tyson to a brain tumor. It was an inevitable experience that comes with being a pet owner, but it was devastating nonetheless. Tyson's Gift: How an 8-pound canine became a man's greatest spiritual guide. In the story of Tyson's life, from his entry into the lives of Brandon and his wife Misha, to his equally impactful departure and continued spiritual influence, Tyson's beautiful story will entertain and comfort readers of all backgrounds. Get your copy at tysonsgift.com. That's tysonsgift.com, or wherever books are sold. From its beginnings, Used was created to unleash the excellence of nature's healing powers and bring them to people everywhere. With almost 90 years in the market, they are considered a worldwide pioneer in complete herbal wellness therapy. All Swiss Used products are natural, essential oil-based, pleasant, and harmonious. They are extracted from plants and herbs with the latest technology to ensure the best results. Swiss Used Live Healthy with consultant Stephanie will guide you in the right direction to find the perfect essential products just for you. For example, have an upset tummy? Try our soothing chamomile that has not only been used by many, but trusted for years. Keep in mind, you just can't get these amazing oils at your local shopping center. They're just too special. For that, you need a connection. And that connection is Stephanie. Want some? Then head on over to Facebook and search Swiss Used Live Healthy. That's Swiss Used Live Healthy, and contact Stephanie today.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pete Show. I'm your host, Peter Obey. We're here on WLTK-DB.com. Be sure to check that out. Be sure to check out Kristina's show. Tell us real quick about your show on Mondays and what you kind of talk about on your show.
The whole premise of the show is that there's a lot of hard stuff going on in the world today, and my goal was to highlight the positive. So I interview people, and it's mostly interviews anyway. Sometimes it's just me talking, but mostly it's interviews. um, Interviewing people who are making a difference in the world in some way, some small way, some large way, some any kind of way, some sort of positive impact on the world, whether it's having written a book. I've had on other psychics and mediums too, and the healing power of mediumship and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the world needs every bit of positivity that it can get. So, yeah, well, be sure to check out her show on Monday evenings, and I look forward to being on in July.
I know, I'm excited. That's gonna be fun.
Who knows what we'll talk about? But well, I want to get back to some questions here. We got lots of comments coming in here, and real quick, I want to say hi to Mike over in Manchester, England. He asked, "Are we live?" Yes, we're live. So good morning to you. Hope you're enjoying your coffee over there, and thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. And another good friend of the show, Lance. Hey, thanks for watching, you guys. So let me cruise back up here. So Jamie had another question of, can you explain seeing visions and colors and the feeling like you're actually experiencing ascension? And you have written a book about ascension and wisdom for the age of ascension, where you've channeled universal thought and intelligence. Tell us a little bit about that. It might shed some light here for Jamie.
Yeah, I'm just trying to read Jamie's question here. I want to make sure that I actually answer her question. So, okay, I'm wondering if I'm supposed to actually be sharing these messages, or if it's just for you. Some messages are just for you, and some are to be shared. I feel like if you really just kind of sit with it, you'll figure out which are which. Yeah. And you keep seeing names you don't recognize.
Jameson is a name you see frequently. And Jamie, are you writing these things down?
Yeah.
I hope you're writing all this stuff down and use that as kind of your own self-guide to what you're experiencing. You could go back and look on each week. Really journal that. She said, I would have experienced this. If I would have experienced this as a child, I would have gotten sent off. My family's closed-minded. They say it's evil, and that's unfortunate. But that's, that's a view that many people have.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's true. It's like when I was a kid, there was a lot of support for it, probably because my grandmother had similar abilities. But now it's like, yeah, Jamie, my mom, like prays for me every day that I will find the Lord and stop doing what I'm doing. So,
all right, hey, and you know what you're supposed to be doing, and like you said, for Jamie, to sit with it. If you can be comfortable and sit with it for a while, I think answers will kind of present itself. And you asked about, can you explain seeing visions and colors, and colors are, like it's the color of energy, and it has very different meanings. And there's a lot of resources. You might be seeing the different energies from different spirits. And there's a lot of resources online to kind of, what does this color mean? What does this color mean? Do some research on that and explain and seeing visions. I always explain it as I have 20 movies playing in my head on top of each other. And I look for the one that sticks out and goes back and sticks out and goes back. Or it's like captions in a movie. Is that similar for you?
Sometimes it is. Sometimes the visions are more like still shots.
Like me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to address the color thing. I agree, do research, but don't let it overwhelm you, because you are going to find so many different answers. Like, some people are going to say that if you're seeing red, it means anger. And if you're seeing, for me, I tend to associate it with the chakra system. So for me, red is the first chakra. It's the root chakra. It's grounding, and it has to do with life on earth. Okay, well, some people might interpret that as evil or angry, but you know,
Yeah.
it's
Just do
really,
this.
it's
Yeah,
how
go
you
ahead.
interpret it and how it feels when you see the color. How do you feel when you see any particular color?
Right. And going back to your original thought on the question of sitting with it,
Hmm.
you'll kind of figure out what feels right to you,
Right.
So journal it, Jamie,
Yeah, I
and
was
just
going to
spend
say again, write it down.
write it
Right.
down
Yeah.
and sit with it and let let things happen at the speed that you want it to. You control that, so you're as Christina mentioned, you don't want to get overwhelmed. So try and just let it come as fast as you want it to. And if things are coming at you a lot, or feels like it's coming at you a lot. You had asked another question similar to that: do spirits flood you when they know you can communicate? I get so many at once, constant party, lol, automatically feel who's who, like telepathy. And yeah, it can they can bombard you when
Sometimes,
they're like,
yeah.
hey, this person can hear me, everybody come over. It can
Yeah,
work
but the
like
thing
that.
is, though, the more that you work with it, the more that you do it, the more you realize you can say, wait a minute, one at a time. You have
Exactly.
the right and the ability to say, one at a time, people. I can't answer everybody at once.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know?
And here's a thought, Jamie and Kate. We're gonna get to Jessica here in a second. But to you guys, say this in your mind when you're having an experience, and it might help give you the perspective you need. Ghost where people wants to.
Hmm.
Let that sit in your mind, because that may help you. How would you deal with a room full of living and breathing people trying to talk to you? Think of it the same way. That
Yeah.
how would you deal with breathers? How would you deal with breathers? And then it might give you a perspective on dealing with the non-breathers. I hope that makes sense, right?
That's an interesting way to put it. Yeah. And I could confuse people by also throwing in that sometimes who we're seeing and who we're hearing are not actually ghosts. They're alive and well in a different dimension.
Right.
Some of us have the ability to see into different dimensions.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
And
that just can confuse the issue even more.
yeah, exactly. Well, we're gonna keep rolling here. My goodness. So Jessica at Scissorhands, thanks for watching. Says I had gifts, but a loved one said that's the devil's work to stop it. So I stopped. Took me 13 years to get back. Yeah,
Oh, I'm so sorry.
it's well, I'm glad you found your way back,
Yeah, me
and
too.
you know, we all have never completely find our way, but we can have a good idea about it. So good on
Mhm.
you for not giving up on yourself and continuing that. And Robin was following up on earlier, says sometimes it's only one word she hears in her head, other times it's only a full sentence. And again, if you write it down, if you hear, write down the word, what it is you heard, and then whatever the first thought that comes in after that, write that down
Yeah.
and keep that going. Um,
Oh, can I just interject? It also might be
of
good
course.
to ask Robin when that happens, maybe just ask the question, is this for me or for someone else?
Yeah, yeah. Another good question to ask too, when you're when you're hearing these things, and for everybody like starting to experience something, don't be afraid to ask, and you should ask, are you here for my highest and greatest good? Are you here to help me? And because you don't want to be pals with something that's not there to help you,
Right.
right?
But I also want to present the other side where maybe they're not there to help you, but looking for help. And
Right.
that doesn't
It's
necessarily mean that they don't have your highest and best good in mind, but
sure.
you're an open door, so they knocked on it.
Right, right. Well, and I think after you get a little bit of experience of recognizing what's what,
Mhm.
you can kind of tell,
Right.
if usually through how the spirit feels, are they real low frequency? Is it real
Mhm.
high? You can get a sense of, is I go a lot by feeling the emotions of a spirit. And like if they're holding on to regret or health issues or, anger towards somebody, something happened to them, like I'll feel those. And that's usually, how I'll tell if it's someone who's wanting help or if it's just something and I haven't really come across things that I was like, yeah, you need to leave right now. I've been lucky so far in that respect.
I've only actually had one that I felt that way about, but I also wanted to say something else that came up while you were talking is, shoot, it's gone. Never mind. It'll be back.
I totally know what you mean. Totally know what you mean.
It'll be back.
And Kate followed up and said, I think I need to keep doing that. Sort of fake it until you make it. LOL. Whatever
Kind
works
of.
for you.
Just what was it? Jim Rohn said, you become like the 5 people you hang around with, right? So go hang around with people who are having those experiences.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Let's see. Boy, there's so much here. Linda's saying that she practices journaling every day and that it really helps. And so I think that's kind of the theme for tonight is everybody journal your experiences and what you've got going on. And then you can go to someone like Kristina or myself and say, this is what I'm experiencing. These are the things I've written down and get a reading on that and see what comes out of that, because you might be surprised. One thing I want to ask you about gallery readings, because you do small ones, you do big ones. For those out there who don't know, give a real quick, brief description of a gallery reading, and then I've got a couple of questions for you.
Okay, so I can do that mostly by example. If you've ever heard of Chip Coffey, John Edward, the Long Island medium, people standing on a stage reading for a group of people. Sometimes I like to do home parties, actually. So, sometimes I'll have, I don't know, between 6 and 30 people getting readings. And so it's really just doing short readings for a bunch of people who are all in the same room together. And one of the things that, let me just start with how I do it, because I think how I do it, having worked with other mediums on a stage, I see that not everyone does everything the same way. So for me, I open up my heart center and I send out a stream of energy that I can actually see, and whoever it goes to, that's who gets the reading.
That is awesome. That's really cool.
I've worked with other mediums who say, like, okay, when you get out on stage, look for the spirits in the audience. And I'm like, I can't do it that way. That's too confusing.
Right.
Especially when you have people, they're sitting in chairs right next to each other. It's just too confusing. So I like to send out a stream of energy, and whoever it goes to, that's who gets the next reading.
Yeah. Give me so I'm curious. I've had some fun experiences in gallery readings. What's the funnest part about it for you? What's the thing that really, makes you giggle a little bit, that you like doing gallery readings?
I think it's a couple of things. First of all, like I said, I like doing home parties, right? So you have a host who invites their friends and family. So all these people know each other. And when I'm reading one person, all I have to do is look at the other faces for confirmation, because they will be sitting there the person I'm reading will be going, I don't know what you're talking about. And their sister will be sitting next to him going, what? Of course you know what she's talking about. They tattle on each other without even meaning to. But I think it's fun because then everybody they really have a good time. And then there's usually some sort of party involved with it too. So it's really fun to do those. Bridal showers are always fun. I like doing those. Yeah.
Now let me ask you this. Are you the same nervousness with whether it's 6 people or 60 people?
No. So if I have an event and I've sold tickets, chances are there are going to be people there who just random, like you buy a ticket to go to a concert or whatever, right?
Sure.
So,
right.
But those are a lot of fun too, because I don't know those people. So
Yeah.
when I get information and they're sitting there going, "Did you look me up?" And I'm like, "How would I look you up? I didn't even know you were going to be here."
Yeah. Exactly.
I've had people ask me that at psychic fairs where
Yeah.
I'm sitting at my table. Someone I never
Yeah.
met before gets a reading and they're like, "You looked me up, didn't you?" How?
Yeah, I
How have
took
you ever
time. I
done
took the time to do that. Yeah. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
and it's, it's funny how, I don't know, this might just be my gallery readings, but, do you find that like when you're picking up something for a particular person and they just have psychic amnesia, right? It's like
Yep.
they don't remember their grandpa's name or grandma's name or whoever it is. And then do you get the follow-up emails like, oh
Oh,
my
yeah.
gosh? That's a fun part for
Emails,
me.
text messages, messenger messages, yeah, whatever. It's like, it just occurred to me what we were talking about. Now, here's the thing. I get psychic amnesia because I do a lot of readings. I
You
don't
can't
remember
remember it.
people's readings. It's
Yeah,
not my information. I don't retain that unless it's
exactly.
really funny or it strikes a nerve.
Yeah, unless
You
it's like
know?
something real unique or something. Yeah, yeah. I feel
Mhm.
like I've done a good job if someone comes back to me for another reading and I can't remember anything about the first one,
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly.
And like you're right, it's not our information. We're just the conduit for
Mhm.
that information to get to who it's supposed to go to. We've
And
got a
let's be
whole
real, I have enough of my own information to retain.
exactly. Well, let's get through some more comments here, and
Okay.
we're gonna run just a little bit long tonight, guys. So let's see here. Sherry, any information for me? I love listening to this show. You're both awesome mediums. Oh, well, thank you so much for the kind
Thank
words,
you.
and
Thank you,
and
Sherry.
thanks for listening. So if you aren't already watching Be the Change, you know now to go check that show out. So
That's right. Monday
um
nights.
yeah, and Sherry, if you wanna, send me an email through the station, you can go to WLTK-DB.com or, book a reading, with Kristina as well. Might be because 'cause we're getting low on time. I don't know if we've got time for it, but definitely would love to help you out.
Yeah.
Mike was saying he said, "Thanks for giving him a shout out in England." He said, "It must be a scary gift," and, have you is there times where you've been, like, legit scared, or is it just kind of, what
Once.
this is? Once? Okay. Tell us a
Once.
little
And
bit
it
about
was
that.
yeah, I used to work with Washington State Paranormal Investigations and Research out of I don't remember where the Issaquah.
Whisper.
Whisper. Yeah, I used to be with
Whisper with
Whisper.
Darren and
Yeah.
Jill. Yeah.
Yes, when I lived out there, I was a member of Whisper, and we did the Starvation Heights investigation.
Oh, yeah. That place
Yeah,
is
Linda Hazard scared me. She,
that well,
yeah,
yeah. If you don't
yeah,
know about that story, Starvation Heights, look that up. Starvation
yeah,
Heights. There's a book by Greg Olson. It's a New York
yeah.
Times bestseller, and it's about Dr. Linda Hazard up here in Washington, close to where I'm at.
Olala,
Um,
right?
Olala, yeah, Olala,
Yeah,
Washington. Get the book and check it out because the book lays it all out.
yeah.
It really tells the story. It's called Starvation Heights, and I'm sure some people listening on here have been there
Probably have
and
been there.
investigated as
Yeah,
well. So, just going back a little bit here, Jessica saying she can't handle having a lot of people around. She gets irritated and want to leave.
that
LOL.
makes absolute sense to me.
Yep.
Yep,
Yep.
it
And Linda
does.
was saying, what you had mentioned, you can ask them to talk one at a time.
Yep,
So you guys make sure you are setting the ground rules because
yes,
as Christina said, you have the right to do that.
yep.
So
We are not
um
puppets for the spirit world. Okay.
yeah.
We're
Yep.
not. We are
Yeah.
we are part of a team and they are on the same team we are and we work together. That means that we agree to bring through their messages and they agree to respect our boundaries. So
Yep.
some boundaries.
And you just got to put them out there. Don't be
I'm
afraid to.
actually teaching a class on that this Friday on Zoom.
Oh, well, where can people go to your website and get tickets for
It's
that?
on my meetup page. So It's meetup.com/one spirit connection.
Awesome. Okay. I will put that out as well on my show page, facebook.com/Paranormal Pete Show. So
Okay.
people can find that as well. So that's awesome. Well, I'm
Right.
glad good timing on that one.
Yeah, it's
And
called writing or revising your universal contract.
awesome. I like that perspective of a universal contract. That's really interesting to me. And Jamie says, "Thank God for people like us." Well, all we can
Thank
do is
God
try
for
and
people
help.
like you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
as long as we can help in some way, and you know, I just, one of the things I really wanted to accomplish with this show is if somebody can walk away with something every episode that they're like, man, I didn't think
Right.
about before, or try something. Linda Myers was saying protection is important, shielding, filtering, that is important. I don't practice what I preach, though. I usually don't do much protection at all. It's just I want to have, if I'm going to do a reading or I'm going to a location to investigate, I want to have the full experience and everything. So I kind of just
I have a
go
little
for it.
bit of different perspective on protection. I don't like the word. I don't like the word protection, because if I feel the need to protect myself, that means that I'm coming at it in fear, right? So
Oh yeah,
fear
sure.
does not draw positive things. So for me, I prefer to call it managing my own energy. So when I go on an investigation, when I do a reading or whatever, I pull in my energy and then I decide what else gets to enter my energy field. So that's the way that I prefer
That's
to.
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And boy, I just, what just happened to me is what I wanted people to take away from each show, something they didn't think about. So thank you for that.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
sharing that. Um, and Mike from England, from Manchester there, he says he hears voices, but a psychiatrist says he has to stay on his meds. He knows it's spirits. Should I believe him? And Mike, what I would say is try and write down, like we've been saying all night, try and journal all these things. And, maybe you could present that to your doctor. And in no way am I giving any sort of medical advice here, because I
No.
am not authorized to do that. But my initial thought would be to, write down what you think is going on in as much detail as you can, and then present that to your doctor. And then, of course, you should trust your medical professionals. They're going to have your best interest in mind and health. So, listen to your doctor, but you might present them with some, write stuff down. What do you think, Kristina?
Yeah, I agree with that. I would never tell anyone to go off of any medication that their doctor is prescribing. I'm not qualified to do that. My question, though, Mike, would be, are you still getting the messages even when you're on your medication?
Right.
Because, if the medication is meant to stop them, it's not, which indicates to me that you are definitely probably having some spiritual stuff going on there.
Yeah, but write it all down.
Write it all down.
However, yeah, and he says yes. Okay, yeah. Just
Yeah.
try and write everything down. Every detail that you can write down, time of day, what you had for the meal before that, everything you can think of, just document it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mike Beers here's, like the theme for tonight, I think, is documenting with everything paranormal. Document, document, document. We
Yes.
can't say it enough. Even just, if you're not, a practicing psychic or a psychic medium, and you're a paranormal investigator, document, 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 document everything you can, right?
Yeah.
Whisper is great with all that, and
Oh yeah.
investigative
They taught
protocols.
me
And
so much.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
great team. Love that team. And Sherry says, thank you. I'll look up those websites for readings. And yeah, and hopefully, want to check out both of our websites, and um, you know, hopefully one of us can help you out there.
Yeah.
And Jessica says she has a question. I feel like there's only bad spirits. I don't believe in demons. What do you guys think? I'll let you go first there.
I don't personally believe that there are only bad spirits. I believe that I don't know about demons. I don't have contact with demons. I can't speak to that. Just like I can't speak to aliens because I don't have, I've never met one that I'm aware of. So, but there are people who have positive and negative intentions, and I feel like, we leave our bodies. The body was the shell, it wasn't the person. So that
Yeah.
person could still have positive or negative intentions, and
Yeah.
that's the way that I feel about it. But I try not to use good and bad. Those are judgment phrases that I think are so black and white that there's a lot of gray in between there. We could all be, as people, judged good or bad based on who's doing the judging.
Yeah.
And their experience of us.
Exactly. And this is a great question and a great response. And I would echo that in the respect that, I don't have contact with, at least that I know of, non-human spirits. Or, I think I've experienced a couple of really old spirits that may be in some sort of elemental type form, but I have no way or basis to go back and be like, compare. So I'm not really sure, but I certainly don't seem to have contact with demons. And I'll agree with you that, and remember what I said earlier, ghosts were people once too. And we
Yeah.
take our personality with us. So if someone was a real jerk in life and that was their personality, that's just, and a curmudgeon, right? That's just, how they were. Well, they'll probably exude that same sort of energy and feelings and messages across, and they can seem to be evil. And because of TV shows and movies and stuff that have come out the last 20 years. I just wrote an article about this for my friend William Becker, Paranormal Insights newsletter, that poltergeist was the term in the 60s, 70s, and 80s for anything that was bad, right? Any negative activity. And then as we move into the 2000s, well, now it's demon is the key word there that everyone uses for something negative. But just remember that, if someone was a jerk in life, they're probably going to act like a jerk on the other side, but they always can choose not to. And have as much spiritual advancement as they want to. And it goes the same for someone who's real nice. Someone who's real nice and caring is probably going to come across that way on the other side. Pranksters, if we all know one, right? We all know that friend who just goes the extra mile for practical jokes and pranking you, right? Well, that person's probably going to do things that may seem evil, but it's really they're just playing pranks on you. So just remember, that you take your personality with you.
I know when I was doing sometimes when I do seances, if like good friends come through or whatever, they'll call somebody by a nickname nobody else knows.
Yeah.
And it's not usually complimentary because they're usually jokesters. Yeah. And, it's like when spirit makes me say things like that, it's like I say it and then I apologize. I'm like, he made me do it.
These were not my words.
These were not my words.
That's all you can do is just, hey, sorry. And
somebody who swears a lot, they're going to come through. They're going to make me say, like things that I wouldn't normally say in a professional setting like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're just going to take a couple more questions, guys, and then we'll be at the end of the show here. We got Brianne checking in. Hello. She had a question. I'm going on a date Friday. Will me and this man end up in a serious relationship? That's, it's hard for me to say on the spot without seeing the person. That really typically helps me out. What do you think, Kristina?
I generally ask for a first name of the other person, and I don't know. Is this a first date? Because if it is, that you're kind of jumping the gun.
That's up. No, great point. Yeah. Put well, I don't know if you want to put his name out there, his first
No,
name, but
probably not. But
um,
in a
take it.
private reading, I would ask for that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. In a private reading. Yeah, this might not be the best place
No,
for
not now.
that
Not
sort of
now.
thing.
Don't do it.
Mike is saying, "Oh, you guys are amazing. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Mike.
Really appreciate that, Jessica. I know there are a lot of universes and different types of aliens and other things. Sure,
Yep.
endless. We just don't know. We can't even comprehend, right?
I do channel Pleiadians. So
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
So in my journey so far, I would get early on information very organic, very earth, based
Mhm.
information. And as time has gone on, it seems to have now it comes from there, but also from out there. And I
Mhm.
mean, I'm getting the camera right here
Yeah.
up. And so I've had this reoccurring dream, vision, whatever you want to call it, ever since I was a pretty young kid. And I've now figured out that they are guides for me. And I think they are Palladians. Um, they have always appeared to me to have I've never really been able to see their faces,
Mhm.
but they seem to have bluish skin,
Yep.
and they always have these robes, like Jedi robes with the big hoods. And to me, they have really long fingers,
Yep.
and they hold them like this. And in this vision I always have, they're always floating off the ground about 6 inches, and they can apport things, make things appear out of nowhere between their hands. And they don't say a word. They're just communicating to me. And it's been since I was a little kid. And I used to call them Weckles because of the drummer Dave Weckl, because their fingers reminded me of drumsticks. And
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
so I would call, I would call them Weckles after the drummer Dave Weckl.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to learn more about them and trying to be more conscious with them. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of becoming more of a believer in other places sending me messages, and it's quite an
Yeah.
experience, I'll tell you that.
It really is. It really is. I would love to share some of my experiences with you, but it could take all day. So
You know, I think, yeah, well, we're going to have you back on because we got so much to talk about. And well, I think we're going to wrap it up here, guys. Thanks so much for all the questions and comments tonight.
we need to keep
And
talking for a couple more minutes, Pete.
okay, we do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Todd said he'd be back in 2 minutes. So we
Ah,
have a couple more minutes.
station manager says it. We're doing it. Okay.
That's right.
So we did have an interesting question from, and I'm going to say Manchester Mike,
Okay.
just so we know who we're talking about. Do bad people like Ted Bundy pass over to spirit? And that's an interesting question when you stop and think about it. What do you think?
My experience has been that yes, people who do horrible things do pass over to spirit. I don't have full understanding of how it works, but I have been told several times by my spirit guides that when we pass over, everyone has the opportunity to do a life review.
Yeah.
And to go back and look at the things that we did, the things that we didn't do. Did we accomplish what we wanted to accomplish? And then also going back and looking at, what was our universal contract going into this life? What was it that we wanted to accomplish? What was it that we wanted to experience?
Yeah.
So I feel like energy is energy. It can't be created or destroyed, but it can be transformed.
Yeah. And Jessica's saying that's part of their contract.
Yeah,
Yeah,
part of their
exactly.
contract.
Yeah, and I haven't, I haven't tried to reach out to anybody like that, and
Yeah, I
on the
haven't
other
either.
side, and I don't think I'll do it unless it's to help somebody.
Right.
But yeah, no, I believe they pass over, and I totally agree with you that. And Mike says thank you. I totally agree with it. Everybody has the opportunity and to do life review. I kind of always see it as the light. You can choose when you go to it. Everybody has the opportunity to go
Mhm.
to the light. And to me, and I don't know about you, to me, I call the light the proverbial light that we can go to when we can come back from that, and we are
Mhm.
essentially a piece of that. I call it the soul's car wash.
Yeah,
And
it's a good
when
way
you
to
go to
put
the
it.
light, it
Yeah.
you are allowing yourself to become your best self, and all those things that held you down in life, poverty, medical issues, murdering, like in the case of Ted
Right.
Bundy, all that stuff can be washed off. And then once you accept your life, right, you do your life review. Once you accept it and you go through the soul's car wash, you can come back and take on, you can learn as much as you want of all that universal wisdom, and you can come back as a piece of it. And I don't think everybody goes through the light and comes back like an all-knowing being, right? You just you do what you take on, what you want to, and it's different levels of being a spirit, of how in some ways Beetlejuice got it right. learning how to
Yeah,
learning how to be a spirit, right?
right,
um
exactly,
you
exactly.
know um Go
I
ahead.
look at the life review as kind of like the law of attraction magnified,
Okay.
because it's not just the life review, but it's going into the light, because we have the ability here to create our own lives, right? Based on the choices we make, the things we believe, how positive or negative we think, we create our own lives here. But if you take away the physical aspect of that and it's pure energy, how fast could you manifest without the physical getting in the way?
Right. That's a good way to look at it. That's cool. And Robin saying thanks, great, awesome show.
Thanks for
Um,
tuning in, Robin.
yeah, Robin, thanks for watching. And Jessica's got another one here. Says, Pete, my sister has that grayish blue alien thing come to her in the nights and communicates with her with his mind. Do you think that's her spirit guide? Could very possibly be.
Very possibly.
It could be something that's attracted to that space, looking for somebody else that, depending on, maybe who lived there before. But most likely, if it's communicating with her, then I would say it might be her spirit guide. And so what she should do is just ask,
Yep. Ask.
ask, are you here for me? Are you here to guide me? Are you here for my highest and best good? Have her just start asking, and if she's sleeping while this is happening, like a dream, as soon as she wakes up, if she can try and write it down. But it may be a very similar thing. And I was always baffled by that growing up, and like, it comes to me as a recurring dream.
Okay.
And at least that's how I've always seen it. And now I'm kind of looking at it in a little bit different light, that when it does happen, which is it's less frequent than it was when I was younger, but when it does happen now, I'm like, oh, get my notebook out. Yeah, get my notebook out, my mental
Must
notebook,
document.
whatever. Yeah, must document.
Must,
Um,
must.
yeah, exactly. So very well could be a spirit guide, but all you can do is ask. Just have her ask. Um,
It
and
is amazing the answers we can get when we simply ask.
Right. One of the coolest questions I heard from my friend Mary Bethune, who's an investigator. She's been on the show. And when doing paranormal investigation, she would just ask, okay, so who's here? Simple question, right?
Right.
Be amazed at how many times you get a response,
Yep.
And so it's things like that. We just got to remember, sometimes simple is best,
Yes.
and just ask those things. And Mike commenting here, thank you both for a good show. Wishing everyone a positive week ahead. Remember to document. Yes.
Thanks, Michael.
that's the that's the theme of this show. Well, folks,
Yeah.
we're gonna wrap it up here, but what a fun show. This was awesome, Kristina. Thank you
Thanks. I
so
had a
much.
great time.
Yeah, and thanks to everybody listening out there. You guys really made it a fun show. asking all those questions. So I really appreciate that. Thanks for following the show. Be sure you follow Be the Change on WLTK-DB.com on Mondays. And I'll be coming on in July, so I'm very much looking forward to that. And the show also gets pushed to my Facebook page via my wonderful marketing arm that is my beautiful wife, Molly. She puts the show onto there. So definitely go check that out. I will be posting so your links for your website and where to get your books and your meetup as well. So
Thank you. Thank
yeah,
you.
so that people can find you and get in touch with you. But again, be sure to go to WLTK-DB.com. Check out the show listing. You'll see Be the Change there. And be sure you check out all the other shows that are, there's great content Monday through Friday on this show. Always something to listen to that's interesting. So with that, I leave every show with a toast, and I'll be back next week with Henry San Miguel from the Paranormal Perception Show and the Orange County Paracon. But I leave every show with a toast, and I hope people don't get tired of it. But we all need the reminder each week of the past is history and the future is a mystery, but today's a gift because it's the present. That's the important part, is don't forget to be present. Schedule some time for you each week. Be where you're at, be who whoever you're with, hanging out with, be there, really be there. Quit thinking about yesterday. Don't think about tomorrow, but be there in the moment. We all need to do that every once in a while, and hug everyone you're with and hug everyone else virtually for a little while longer. And be safe out there. Kristina, thanks again.
Thank you, Pete. It was great being in your show. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, thanks so much. It was great having you. This was a really fun one. So we're going to have to do this again.
Absolutely.
We got plenty to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll be looking forward to that. And thanks everybody for watching the Paranormal Pete Show. I'm your host, Pete Orbe. We'll be back here next Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Pacific time. For us West Coasters, 11 o'clock p.m. for the East Coasters. We'll see you next week. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks.